What is up, Sopranos fans? Kino here. We're back with another Soprano log, and this time we're looking at the Season 2 episode, House Arrest. Now, the title of this episode comes from a parallel situation happening between Tony and Junior. So Tony is told by his lawyer that he needs to insulate himself from all his criminal activities. Last episode, he almost went to jail over the Matthew Bevilacqua hit. And his lawyer advises him to take a step back away from the guys and spend more time in his legitimate businesses so he's not a big target for the feds. Tony agrees to do this, but he's really bored. He doesn't like just sitting around an office. He wants to be doing crime stuff. He wants to hang out with the guys, even though, it's bad for him legally. It exposes him to risk. He just finds himself incredibly bored and depressed when he's not doing that kind of stuff. It's funny, he actually complains about not being able to really take enjoyment out of anything now. He says he was watching the movie Seven, and, he complains that what's the point in figuring out, the plot and who the killer is. Which is true for most people, unless you have a YouTube channel where you analyze movies and TV shows. Then there is a point to watching countless amounts of television and movies. So just keep that in mind, Tony. But meanwhile, Junior's in the hospital. He's having some surgery done. And he runs into an old friend of his from school, a woman named Catherine Romano. She was married to a cop, but she's still friendly with Junior, even though her husband has passed away now. She wants to see him and associate with him, but he refuses at first. One, because he doesn't want her to know about his illness and his house arrest. He's kind of ashamed about those things. But also, he's interested more in younger women. There's the nurse who's helping him with his sleep apnea. He actually talks about his girlfriend, Bobby, who he shoved the pie into her face. But she doesn't want anything to do with him after that. So he kind of realizes that he's, alone now. He doesn't really have many people left in the world. And so he agrees to, start associating with her. She comes over, they talk. Livia actually calls, and when she learns that Junior has been associating with Catherine, she actually brings up the fact that Johnny felt her up one time. And I think she's doing this because she wants Junior to feel insecure. She wants to manipulate Junior and control him. But Junior's really pissed at Livia for, manipulating him into almost killing Tony. So he doesn't want anything to do with Livia anymore. And he hangs up on her. And he comes clean to Catherine and is honest with her about his house arrest, and she accepts it. And by the end of the episode, she's taking care of him and kissing him. It's really affectionate, and it's really nice to see that Junior has a friend in his life and someone he can rely on. He doesn't have a wife or children, but now he has someone in his life who actually cares about him. Meanwhile, Melfi is dealing with a lot of stress from treating Tony. She's horrified by the things that he tells her, and she started drinking in between sessions. So it's really interesting that we get to see that the therapy is really affecting her negatively, interacting with Tony. He's just that bad of a person that it's kind of wrecking her psyche. While she's out at dinner with her son, she gets into this confrontation with a woman who's smoking, and we can just see that Tony's really rubbing off on her in a negative way. She's much more confrontational. She throws something in the woman's face, and we can see that she's just spiraling. She doesn't know how to keep treating Tony without it destroying her. But at the same time, she can't stop seeing Tony. She's really attracted to the horribleness of the things that he tells her. It's like watching a train wreck. She just can't look away. So Melfi's in a really dark place right now in this episode. Meanwhile, Richie is creating headaches for Tony. He dumps a truck on a problem customer, which draws, negative attention to them. But more importantly, he's selling drugs along the garbage routes, which risks the entire operation. It could bring the DEA and the feds down on them. Tony tells him to stop, but Richie is just giving him a lot of attitude. He's not listening to him, and Tony starts having panic attacks again. Now, I think the reason for that, one, is it's not that he's scared of Richie, but he's just so angry at Richie, and he can't really do anything because Richie's going to be a part of his family. He's marrying his sister, so he can't act out violently to Richie, and so all these negative emotions cause him to just pass out. But the other thing is that because Tony is not, participating in crime and not doing things anymore, he has a lot of time by himself to just sit and think. And Melfi, when he talks to Melfi about this, she describes him like a shark. He has to keep moving. He can't stop, or else he'll think about all the horrible stuff he did. And stepping away from, his criminal activities has caused him to just have these negative psychological problems when he actually has to be alone by himself. So I think that's why he's having those panic attacks. There's actually a really funny scene with Tony when he goes to the hospital with this doctor, and he's yelling at the doctor because she doesn't know what's wrong with him, and then she says losing a little weight couldn't hurt. It's a great burn, and I wonder why this is never shown in any like clip compilations. Like, this is a really funny moment from the show that I barely recognize because it's not on YouTube most of the time. But interesting stuff going on. At the end, Tony decides that he's going to go back to his friends, and there's a nice little ending here where they're all together, they're all bonding, and it's going to be one of the few times we see him genuinely happy going back to the life. It's only going to be more headaches from here. But really interesting episode. I really like how the house arrest angle parallels Junior and Tony. Junior's under a legal house arrest, and Tony's under a self-imposed house arrest. But both these things affect them negatively in their lives. So really good episode, and stay tuned for the next Soprano log coming soon. Thanks.